gonna bring on Alex Fast here, who's celebrating. Hey, what's up, Alex?
307 away, baby.
We are so
307
close.
away.
I have donations to read off and comments to make here. So we have Steve Giswelli, who after his donated 50 and said, "Cease is good, Nick," and he is good. He's just, I don't know if he's worthy of the 80 ADP, but still, I get it. I hope he is amazing. Hope he's the best pitcher in Chicago, and do not monkey paw that for me. Tyler donates $10. Thank you so much. Every little bit helps. This is amazing. We have an anonymous $25. We have Tony with 50. We have Bobby giving $27 in honor of submariner Kent Tekulve. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but that's so great. I love it, Bobby. Amazing. $27, of course, from him. We have Beth at 100 is amazing. Joshua at 100 says great entertaining content and great cause. Thank you so much. Eric Cross at 100. He says thanks for everything. And no, thank you, Eric. And Steven at 100. This is nuts. We are so close. Steven, Eric, Joshua, Beth with that 4 in a row 100 is insane. And we've got 1 hour left. Can we do it fast?
We can friggin' do it. I got my O's hat on, feeling lucky.
Oh man, and what's crazy is that not only are we hoping by the end of the hour that we'll have the $10,000 goal hit, not only that, we'll also be giving away all the prizes and be doing the drawing of that. But we have a little trailer for you guys for PL7.
Oh baby,
that you don't want to miss.
Ooh,
it's something
spicy.
Something else.
I hope you can handle the spice.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna do. I'm happy you did it for me, you know. But fast until then, this hour we've got another little teaser, don't we?
Oh, we sure do, baby. I never worn a hat for a podcast, and today I'm doing it. And what did I do? I put on a baseball hat. Because what are we talking about, Nick, today?
Baseball.
What are we
We're talking about baseball.
Baseball. We're talking about nabs, dog. We're talking about the Nick and Alex baseball show.
Yes!
It's going to be a podcast. It's going to be a live show. It's going to be happening every Wednesday. Are we counting this as the first episode? Who knows? Is it a pilot? Yes. It's episode 0. Right?
Yeah, it's episode
0.
An introduction. It's us kind of feeling it so that when we, really do this, and I say, it's called the baseball show, not the baseball podcast. We want this to really feel like a live show for everybody. That is, yeah, exactly. The chaos, the celebration of baseball, because if there's anything you guys have known from us doing the On the Corner podcast and the First Pitch and all this stuff, is that we enjoy the positive aspects of it. We love going a little bit off the cuff of being just fun and embracing those moments of it. And yeah, with On the Corner, we want to make sure that we gave you guys good information, stuck to that, and really talked about the analysis and everything. And we're going to be doing some of that too, of course. We're going to all the news and all the things that are important, definitely. But we want this to feel like we're just here, we love the sport, and this is a fun baseball show. That's the
I mean, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, it's like we essentially want to take the conversations that we have when we're going to baseball games or when we're out at bars or when Nick and I are just talking to one another and it's not about business, and turn it into a show, right? Sometimes you just want to talk about baseball. And it's also like sometimes, I was kind of thinking about this as I was quote unquote preparing for this. I think what would be kind of fun too in doing this is like just walking through the methodologies that we use. And what I mean by that is like, you'll see it a little bit in this podcast, but sometimes because we're talking about fantasy, we just get right to the numbers, right? We're looking at the FIP, we're looking at the WOBA, we're looking at the BABIP, whatever. For this, I think it would be nice, and the listeners can correct me if I'm wrong, when we're looking something up, we'll be honest about it and we'll look it up together. So you can get right into our little noodles about what we're thinking and how we're thinking it. And if you don't want to get into our little noodles, then I don't know what you want.
I love that you just keep saying little noodles over and over again fast.
It's the name of the podcast, isn't it?
Have you ever try to hit like a wiffle ball with a noodle?
I'm talking
about
like a linguine?
No, like the pool noodle.
No, but I did do it with some al dente linguine. That's what I did. That's not what this podcast is.
Got nicely cooked, like it's not ready to hit a baseball.
We're gonna kick things off. Okay. Well, you already talked a little bit about it, but two things. One, Nick sent me a text when I sent him the the description of this breakdown, he said, "Oh my God, is this going to be 20 minutes?" And I was like, wow, Nick has fully lost his mind that he thinks that this is only going to be 20 minutes. Like,
well, you gotta understand,
have we not worked together
way for
6
me
years?
though. Like, I'm so used to, I can talk about pitchers for 20 million hours or whatever, and I'm still going to talk about it here, but it's not how we're targeting this. So I don't have that well.
This is what I'm giving us the freedom to do, right? If we're talking about a hitter, we can be honest about like, hey, I'm actually going to go to a Savant page right now, and we're going to look this up, and we're going to do it together. It's going to be a collective effort here. But you already, over the course of the season, right? What can you expect from this, right? Let's get down to brass tacks.
Let's go.
What can you expect from this? You can expect big news of the week. You can expect a game of the week feature. You can expect a weekend game that we're looking forward to, as well as general baseball fun.
What?
General baseball fun. We want to live stream it as much as we can. And when is this going to debut in earnest?
Yeah, it's going to be in February, in early February. So I don't want to give
Say that month again.
February.
You hit that. You hit that first R hard, huh? You say not silent for me.
Because I always forget like that there is another R. I want to say February, but it's February. I struggle with this word. I don't know why. My mouth just like tenses up every time.
Don't need the R. Don't need the first one.
February.
Snick! Who hits the hard R? Who hits the R? The first R in February.
That's why I said like Jose Abreu for ages. Okay, like
that's what your serial killer trait
me
is.
Up for whatever reason, I can't.
That's your serial killer trait.
You know, it's like a pirate in hiding. You know, it's like I'm terrified of it. I'm like, get out of here.
The February killer. We would like to debut this in February, but I mean, who knows? I mean, by then we'll have some more news because hopefully the CBA will be over. But you know what? Let's dive in, right? Let's get down and get funky with it. Okay. So the first topic that I want to have a conversation about is obviously there are plenty of remaining free agents, right? I mean, listen, we saw a pretty large swath of them sign, right? You know, Marcus Semien goes and Corey Seager goes. Like we saw plenty of really, really big signings. I want to talk about some of these upcoming free agents who are still yet to be signed and where we think would be a good landing spot from them.
Sure.
Okay. So actually, originally we're going to start with Correa, but let's go ahead and let's ease you into it. So let's start with Rodon. Okay. Let's start with Rodon. Whew. So I guess what we're thinking about is like Rodon showed last year that he's got ace upside, right? Mm-hmm. He showed that he can be a number one. I imagine if you're a front office, he's probably going to ask for, it'd be crazy if he asked for number one money, but he's going to ask for a good chunk of change. If you're a GM, where are you slotting Carlos Rodon in your rotation? Like, where do you want him to be? Where are you anticipating him to be? And where would you like to see him land? Where do you think he could make a really good impact for a team?
You know, this is a crazy thing with Rodon. Like, on one side, I don't want these. I wouldn't imagine these teams that are desperately in need of a starter going after Rodon. And I mean by that, like, so there's been linked to kind of the Yankees, like, oh, the Yankees could really go after your Rodon and stuff. But that's not the kind of guy they need. They need more of a dependable thing there.
Yeah.
At the same time, you know, that might apply to other teams that I'm going to mention. There's actually a really fun one I think that would be great for him. Where they also need someone dependable, but they're also not really that far in the hunt at the moment.
Who's that?
So essentially Rodon could actually, if it does pan out, put them in some sort of contention in some way. And that for me would be the Texas Rangers, because they, you know, I don't think anyone right now really says like, oh, Texas now because of Corey Seager and John Gray and Marcus Semien are really there. Mm-hmm. But get Carlos Rodon, and maybe if it does work, because, yeah, there's all this tear about his shoulder and the fatigue and everything has been around that shoulder. If it does work, then all of a sudden, I mean, wait, that's two studs, possibly, if John Gray works out. And then you have a better lineup with those two newly acquired hitters. It just seems a little bit more exciting there. The other element is Atlanta, who doesn't have a fifth starter right now. And you have Charlie Morton and Max Fried and Huascar Ynoa and Ian Anderson. And the benefit that I like there, I was trying to think of this, of a team that just needs a number 5, because then it's with Rodon, they can maybe ease him through the year, make sure the shoulder is better. And it's not necessarily this like, you are our number 2 or number 3 right now. Rodon could actually just be a very good boost through the year instead. Like the Dodgers right now, they need something more solid than Rodon. So
Yeah.
those are the two teams I'm kind of thinking at the moment would be very interesting.
That would be interesting. I'm looking at like one of the things I was looking into today was like who's got cap space, right? Who's like the Mets are way over the luxury tax already. So same with the Dodgers, same with the Yankees. The Padres have $330,000 that they can play with. I wonder if the Blue Jays could make a push, even though that's a stacked rotation as is.
It's
You
like
need
Robbie
as much
Ray
help.
again, right? In some ways.
Absolutely. Like why
Yeah.
if they could have Barrios and Hyunjin Ryu and Manoa and then take Carlos Rodon and make him like a 4-5 and then make
Right.
Stripling a guy who comes in every once in a while. I think that would be really interesting. And then you also to me, like you said, you probably want to put him on a team where there's depth.
Rotation.
Right. If they they have the money to do it. I actually
just got
think
Gausman. It's like Gausman, Rodon, Manoa, Barrios, Ryu. Oh my. Oh man. And they lost Semien on the offensive side, but they still have a great offense and everything.
I mean, I would, it's probably going to come down to just who's going to pay him the most money. But considering they have the cap space for it, even if they did like a 2-year, 3-year deal for him, because they're going to have to pay, Vlad Jr. in not too long. So you don't want to tie anyone up with long-term contracts. You brought up Texas, and my buddy Daniel, who's a big
what's up, buddy Dan?
He's a big Dodgers fan. He's my friend in LA. He says, because we were talking about Clayton Kershaw, he says he thinks that's where Kershaw is going to end up, is in Texas.
Well, that has been the link a bit. I think that Kershaw has a lot of Texas background.
I think he's from there or something. Yeah.
I should know more about that. I mean, they're in my heart, and I think it's how I feel about a lot of these guys. A lot of these free agents have been with their club for so long that it feels wrong to suggest that they would leave it, like another one of the hitters that you have here. But with Kershaw, there's just this understanding if Kershaw can actually pitch and be effective, there's no way the Dodgers aren't signing that, right?
Maybe. I mean, if Kershaw could pitch and be effective, then I don't think that they even would have let him get to free agency. I think there is a little bit of a concern considering what he's put up in the last couple of years and the injuries and the fact that he's already got 2,500 innings on his arm.
Let's just send both of the injured, lefty studs to Texas, right?
To
just
Texas.
Also make this little powerhouse in Texas.
They've got the money to play with. I want to move now to the other really big free agent who still remains, and that's Carlos Correa. So someone's going to have to break the bank to be able to acquire him, right? There are rumors that he was looking for $330 million. He's a Boris client now. So what are you thinking? I mean, he was in the 98th percentile in outs above average last year. He's obviously got a very good bat as well. Where do you see Carlos Correa landing?
I see two places. And I mean, obviously the Yankees are in dire need of a shortstop. I really do feel that Trevor Story is the better answer for New York. But maybe, and Correa and the whole thing, it just feels wrong. It just feels so wrong for Correa, the true villain, the biggest villain of that Houston Astros team, that with all this drama going on, it just doesn't, it's not like it's so much worse than Johnny Damon and Jacoby Ellsbury coming over to New York after they were on the Red Sox, because Correa is actually acting the part more. It's kind of, in many ways, it's like if Pedro or David Ortiz did instead, right? And it's just, you can't do that. You just can't do it. So the ones that come to mind is actually one we already mentioned, that's where the Blue Jays would spend their money. I know that they have Bo Bichette, but they lost Semien at second. Theoretically, you can do something second shortstop with those two. That could work out super well and to maintain that offense, as they have 4 really good pitchers right now in that rotation. They could absolutely seize that. The other one is, I just, every single time everyone says, hey, where should a free agent go? I just want it to be the Angels. I just always want that to be better. That's just what I want. And they don't have a star shortstop, so there might be something to fill there.
Yeah, the Angels were the first team that I were looking for too, because he would be replacing a Tyler Wade platoon. And, it would make, between a healthy Rendon, and him, and then you have Jared Walsh at first. Like, again, that would make them really good. They don't have a lot of money to play with. I think that they are, I'm looking again at their cap hit, and they are, they're okay. They've got 25 million before they hit the luxury. The Yankees are already paying into the bonus. Like, they're already over the luxury tax. So I just don't know how they'd be able to afford either of those guys.
It's about time.
I guess, but like, they're already 2 million over. Like, one of those major signings puts them incredibly over the luxury tax. Then again, we don't know what's going to happen.
We'll see what happens with that. Not to mention, if I remember correctly, the Yankees were intentionally getting underneath it before so that they can start the penalty, reset again. So, yeah. I mean, look, I think the Yankee fan base is upset that they haven't been above the threshold. They're the team that should be doing it always, essentially. And they just haven't been. And now that they reset it, now's the time to do it.
I don't think they would ever spend the money, but it stinks that the Guardians couldn't do it. Because
it always stinks that the Guardians can't do it.
Yeah, because I think it'd be a great addition for them. Diamondbacks, I don't think are going to be looking to make a big acquisition. I think the Marlins are already set at shortstop, or at least they would have to do some moving around.
And it was Baez, it was Detroit until Baez kind of showed. Maybe you can have a second shortstop thing going there.
Yeah, maybe to move him to second or something. I don't know. I don't know. You'd probably want to keep him at short. Right. But I mean,
I'll ask this though. Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but how do you even feel about Correa? Do you feel that he should demand the same amount of money as, say, like Machado went, or some other, or maybe, I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is Correa to me is someone who has a lengthy injury history, had a fantastic season the year that he was going to enter free agency. It seems like a very risky proposition. Has never been, this overwhelming MVP player. He's been very good, but he's not this guy that I say, okay, you know what? I'm going to target him to break the bank on.
I think I mean, all right. So yeah, he obviously hasn't been able to play a lot. So that you're not going to get 600 plate appearances out of him, right? So that definitely, to me, knocks his value a little bit. He's hit 600 plate appearances once, it looks like. He's never had a full season, right? So we take out 2020. There's never been a season where he's had a WRC plus below 100. He's also 27 years old. So, like, the window isn't closed yet for him.
Right.
You know what I mean? You still have 3 or 4 peak years of like very good offensive and defensive output from him. So I can see why he's gonna, I mean, he's a Boris client, so he's gonna ask for the world, and I can see why he's going to do that. You have to figure some team is gonna cave and do that. Like, it's kind of curious too, like guys that are one piece away, it always feels like they're rarely one piece away because of their shortstop. You know what I mean? It's a weird position in that way.
Yeah, right.
Maybe Cincinnati could do it and he could replace Kyle Farmer. The Mariners would be kind of fun, but JP Crawford's there and they're pretty happy with him, especially coming off a great year last year. I know that, I'm reading in the comments too, like the Cubs were rumored, but yeah, I agree with the comment where it's like, why? The Cubs aren't really looking to open that window again anytime soon. It looks like they're trying to rebuild a little bit and sell out these assets. So I think he's just going to look to kind of break the bank, and the team that's going to offer him all that money is where he's going to go, which sounds like stupid analysis. Maybe it is the Reds. That would be really interesting.
I mean,
that'd be a lot of fun for his home runs.
I think the Reds are probably going to be on the selling side of like Luis Castillo and company. That's at least what the feeling is. They haven't really leaned into Joey Votto as we've wanted them to either. They just sold off Wade Miley for nothing, and that's the indication that they're probably not going to be spending and they're going to be selling off. By the way, quick update before we move on to the next player. Jeremy at $10, it says, screw fantasy baseball, I want the RPMs on Nick's curveball. All for that. Jake at 25 says, incredible content all 4 days. Great job, everybody. Thank you so much. Michael at 50, the character of the people in this community is amazing. Hats off to all of you. Seriously, could not agree more, Michael. This is the best community out there. I feel so lucky. I'm sure you do too, Fast, just to be a part of it, and how fortunate we are that the one that we want to be involved in happened to be this incredible one. And Joshua, $25, says, amazing content all week. Thank you guys so much. We have 200 left. We can do this. We got 40 minutes. We can do it. Sorry.
Oh, we have less. We have 197. It's at 98.03 now.
197. We can do it.
I love it. We can do it.
We can do it. Who's the next player, Fast?
Yeah, I want to hit two more. Remember, you're like, "How are we? This is going to be a 20-minute podcast. We're 20 minutes
I know.
in.
The
We're on
second, I was
topic
like, yep,
one."
you're right. You're
Okay.
right.
We'll do one more pitcher and one more hitter. We'll do the pitcher first. Where do you think Kenley Jansen ends up, and will it be in a closer role?
I think so. Where though is a really good question. I want like the Red Sox to do it because they always are just so like, yeah, I guess it's Matt Barnes or something like that. And it just seems like, oh right, they need a name. They need this get in a way. But then again, Alex Cora, weird with that Boston bullpen and still wants to lean on Barnes, but then he doesn't. But I would say if there's one place that says like, all right, you know what? Come on in, Kenley, let's do this. I would say that'd be Boston.
I'm going to say that he lands in Toronto. Their bullpen was so poor last year. They're getting some pieces back, but I think,
hopefully.
yeah, Merriweather. And then right now, I think, Jordan Romano, who throws like absolute gas. So I think that he would actually be. To be honest, I think that they would use him as a setup. Yes, I see the comment. Jansen's going to want to close somewhere. I think Jansen's going to want wherever he can get as much money. You know what I mean? I really do like money and maybe another ring. I just don't see him supplanting Jordan Romano, but they need that bullpen help. But also, here's the thing: like super bullpens are the now. You know what I mean? Like everyone wants the best, the back 3 or 4 of their bullpen to be stellar. So I don't know if he can be that guy anymore, but it wouldn't surprise me if he was a 7 or an 8,
all I think of when you say that is the Kansas City Royals, the 3-headed monster.
Of what?
It was Wade Davis, Greg Holland, and Kelvin Herrera. And
Yeah.
Wade Davis was 91 mile per hour cutters. Were just so unbelievably filthy. And Greg Holland's slider and Kelvin Herrera just doing stupid things, just throwing so hard with all this movement. Sorry, it's just that's kind of where it started. And then you had Andrew Miller and Aroldis Chapman and Dylan Betances for a moment with the Yankees, and they were just so wonderful. Those 3-headed monsters.
They are. I think it's the way that we're going to continue to keep heading, right? Just play the matchups. You don't need to rely on one guy, and yeah. Okay, the last guy, free agents, before we move on to topic 2. Freddie Freeman, I think he just stays in Atlanta. He's gotta.
Come on. I mean, look, Freeman seems so cool, too, that he's like, yeah, you know what? I don't need an extra $20 million. I want to stay in Atlanta,
Let's take a look at this. Let's take a look. I said we're gonna go to Fangraphs. We're gonna look at the leaderboard here. We're gonna go to team stats, and we're gonna look at first base, and we're gonna look and see who had the lowest WAR at the first base position.
Oh man!
Last year. Okay, so 4 teams had sub 1 WARs at first place. Okay.
Oh,
what are you laughing at over there?
This should be a segment on this. Like, let's make Nick squirm.
I'm not gonna make you guess these.
Well, I'm trying to.
If you want to, sure. All right.
Who had Pirates have to be there.
Pirates are in there.
Yes. Okay. Let's
Pirates
go with
second.
Rangers.
Rangers, no.
Oh, because You
get 3 strikes.
Oh God. Okay. We're gonna go with the Brewers.
Nope.
Yeah. No.
One more strike.
I mean, they got Rowdy Tellez, so I guess that wasn't the case. I mean, no, Mountcastle was good. I wasn't. I always just default to the Orioles whenever.
That's fine. I'm used to it.
All right. There's got to be Diamondbacks.
No, they're 6th, so you were close.
Yeah,
Kansas City. Yeah, Kansas City had the lowest. Then Pittsburgh, then the Guardians, and then the Twins.
Yeah, I just completely forgot about the AL Central. I went through every single division and just skipped the AL Central.
Yeah. I don't blame you. I looking at who could use some of these first basemen, like, maybe Texas could try and do it again. I really would be surprised if Atlanta doesn't pony up at some point and just do this. I mean, but then again, people are like, well, why not do it before the break?
Right, but those teams you mentioned, those 4 of them are not going to be spending right now.
Yeah, they're not. Or ever, in the case of Cleveland.
I mean, the Twins sometimes-ish, maybe.
Yeah.
No, not really. Sorry. Take it all back.
Yeah. I mean, if Texas wants to continue its spending, but I think they have some options.
Sure.
So yeah, I don't know. I would be surprised if he landed on another team.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I want to move on to the second topic here. We can just throw things around a little bit. And this is what I was curious.
Feel it out. Yeah.
Feel it out. Play catch.
Yeah, sure. Have a catch. Yeah.
Nope. You already said yeah, sure. Soundbite it.
Wow.
Topic number 2. If you could force the CBA to include one thing.
Yeah.
One thing. So you go to Rob Manfred and he says you get one wish.
Yep.
And what is it?
Minor leaguers are provided housing plus at least a salary minimum of $40K a year.
That's not a salary minimum.
A salary, and then you go up to AA and AAA, you get at least 10K as a bonus. So those minimums at AA are 50, and then at AAA it's 60 plus housing.
Why do you want the minor leaguers to have that much salary?
Because it's just
water.
There's no calories, and actually, it burns calories for you. And I just want them to be healthy.
Yeah, it's really kind of tough for me to argue with that one. That's good. I think maybe since I can't go with that one, then I'll say the thing that just got taken off the table, which is let's get people out of arbitration and into free agency quicker.
So this is something I wrestle with a lot, because I essentially want it to be like you have to pay them more, because I really enjoy. We're just talking about Freddy Freeman. There's something really awesome about a player staying with their team for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And so arbitration, I don't necessarily think is a good process, but as long as I want two things. One, I want player loyalty, but I want them to get paid what they're worth. If there's a way to kind of merge that in some way that doesn't have guys leaving after 2-3 years, then you know what I mean. You get really attached to Aaron Judge or something after the first 3 years, or even better for small market teams. Even it's really hard for them to as a fan 2-3 years and well, you are Pittsburgh and I can just go to New York now, and I'm gonna make a lot more money. And if there's a process that says, look, Pittsburgh, you can't stop. You can't do this whole we're not going to pay anyone anything. You have an amazing player. You are going to pay him what he's worth now. Stop this, right? That to me is a better answer for me as a fan than saying, you know what, Pittsburgh can't pay them, so you know what, they're gone now. It's a tough thing here.
I have to take off my Orioles hat and put on my proverbial, Howard Zinn revisionist history hat and say that player loyalty can be utilized as a tool by big labor to oppress players.
Oh, absolutely. This is what I'm saying. If that is a thing, that there needs to be all this benefit to it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm getting at. Is I know that in my head is just we have the player loyalty with the bad system right now.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to figure, there has to be some solution that makes it so that, as fans, especially the small market ones, that it feels weird rooting for your team, because you can't attach yourself to say, oh man, I'm so happy we have this guy. Well, you have it for one more year, and that's it every single time. It can be really tough. Right now, Vlad would be gone as a Blue Jay fan. That stinks. I mean, that's essentially 3 years, I think, if I got that right. Man, you just got so excited about Vlad and be he's gone. See ya. That's just wait, hold on a second. Can we make some middle ground here?
That's
interesting.
Correct me. Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Want it so that guys make more money.
I want it so that guys make more money, but it's a very, very interesting point for sure, because then you're right. That it almost makes sense that it can't exist in a vacuum, and it should exist with some form of a salary cap and a salary floor, right? Because going down your timeline, which makes a lot of sense. Yeah, Vlad becomes a free agent right away. Yankees say, don't care about the salary tax. He's a free agent. We're breaking the bank for him, and we're paying $30 million in penalties for it. So if there's a cap, then that's interesting. I also think that there has to have something with with the NBA model. I think is a really interesting one, and you don't hear a lot about a lot of labor disputes. And I think there is I'm not an expert on it, but I think there is a little bit more revenue sharing there with the players. Okay. And I think that would be interesting to give them a bigger cut of the pie outside of just their contracts. Yeah, this is, I'm trying not to get too much into like how the game is marketed, because that's a whole nother topic that we're going to reserve for another podcast. But those are our two rules. So that's what we're talking about. Those are our two rules. I like the minor league one. I would probably back you most on that minor league one.
I mean, I feel like that's just it's so weird that I need to ask for that, even, because what is the best thing you can do for a ball? Like, what is the reason that we're saying that Toronto has all this money despite having all these good players? Oh, it's because all these good players are young and we don't have to pay them as much right now, right? They have all this floor because the number one thing of a successful baseball team right now is quality young players, right?
Yeah.
It's not the ones that they acquired off of free agency. It's the ones that they have, internally with their system. So why not invest in that? Why it's so shocking to me how organizations don't just see this as like, oh, cool. You know what? Stories like Shane Bieber, where he wasn't a high draft pick or something like that. If we have better systems and we invest in them and we can have like a larger crop of this, essentially, like I feel terrible saying crop in any way. God, I'm so sorry. But you know what I mean? As in like just a larger amount. Like, yeah, then let's pay them more money and give ourselves more opportunity to find these amazing people that deserve this in the first place.
Yeah,
It's like I'm talking about it outside of like the actual human right. It should be like, guys, like, are you serious? You are so underpaying them in the first place, but it's also just good for them too. It's so shocking to me.
Noah brought up two things. One, to finish up your point, when Kyler Murray essentially had a choice between the NFL and the MLB. My argument was, and it was always known that he was probably going to go to the NFL. But what I always talked about was like, okay, so here are his options: sign, get a huge signing bonus, and immediately make an impact on an NFL team where he gets the spotlight, or ride a bus through the backwoods of the United States of America for 2 years. Yes, he's probably got a nice bonus, so he's not sleeping on the floor. But like, we need to have more incentivization to get people into this sport. But before we go on to the next topic, Noah Scott just reminded me of what I think is I love this idea. I'm so all about it. I am so about relegation.
Yes, I'm for it too.
I love what the Premier League does. I love what the
Pitcherless Legacy League does. And congratulations on avoiding it once again fast.
Yes, I did. I did indeed. With an historic comeback, really, and then made it to the playoffs.
Well, that's how close everything was. It was like one game for everybody.
Unbelievable.
But regardless of that, yeah, relegation would be amazing. The problem is they're never going to agree to it now.
No, it would be really tough. But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. I genuinely think if they wanted to do a major expansion, right? Like, I don't think it needs to be like then you're all of a sudden a AAA team. Have the MLB, then do a 6-team expansion league, right? With that, quad A and relegate. I think that's amazing.
We did it.
We already did it?
We did it. Eddie coming in clutch with a 200 contribution, and we've made it. I wish I should have had some noise, something to play, something to do.
That was a good noise.
Fast as that's it. Right, we're cutting this short. We're done. Oh man, you fast. Do the dance. You gotta do the cha cha cha. We learned
it. First of all, absolutely not, you monsters. You know how to do it now. I can't believe it.
Man.
Wow.
All right, I will talk at the end of this podcast. But oh my god, thank you guys so much. Seriously.
That's amazing.
And we get to give away everything, and this is amazing, and this is the best, and we did it.
That's unreal.
This community is the greatest community ever. All right.
We're buying a baseball team.
One day, who knows?
One day.
All those owners, had companies that soared to give them opportunity to buy a baseball team in the first place, right? So
say it again.
All those teams owners that own those teams now had some company that soared to give them the opportunity
100%.
to buy a baseball team.
Sure, they were venture capitalists or
whatever. But why not?
We're the first fantasy baseball one to do it.
Yeah, baseball. This is a baseball show, Fast.
Yeah,
we are a baseball sports media company.
That's true. And the next thing that we're going to talk about in this baseball in Nabs. You know it, the Nick and Alex baseball show.
Twitch plays the Colorado Rockies, says Noah Scott. Debate what pitch is coming. Is it going to be throw a fastball? I'm telling you, throw a fastball.
That would be amazing. All right. The next topic that we wanted to talk about is teams that could theoretically make the biggest leap in 2022. The teams that finished below. I'm going to list the teams. There were 15, by the way. If there's anyone who wants to find this out for me, I'm very curious. When was the last time 15 or more teams finished below 500?
Never.
It has to be a long time since that's happened.
Okay, 15 teams. Isn't that just normal?
I thought teams. So too. Yeah, there's 30, but plenty of teams can finish one game. There always have to be.
But I mean, I guess it's not that uncommon. If it was like 20 or something, that's like, oh boy, we are so front loaded.
It just seems weird that the half the league. I understand.
But that seems like exactly how it should be to me.
But I guess because you're saying there's an even number of games, so half the teams have to win and half the teams have to lose. Last year there were 14. I didn't count. If you have coin flip wars between 30 teams, I would imagine 15 would be winning and 15 would be losing. I guess.
Like right around it. Yeah. Something.
Now you got me really curious to look at the MLB 2018.
I just want to participate in coin flip wars.
1, 2, 3.
Represented by 30
4,
teams.
5, 6. No. This isn't going to be
500 as well.
7,
Yeah, that's
8,
fair, Miles.
9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. It's been 14 a few times, looks like. Anyway, maybe it's not as big of a deal as I thought. These are the teams that finished below 500. Okay.
Right.
And I want to know who you think, let's say the top 3 who have the best chance to finish above next year.
Sure.
Baltimore, Cleveland, Detroit, Kansas City, Minnesota, the Angels, Texas, the Mets, Miami, Washington, the Cubs, the Pirates, the Padres, the Rockies, and the Diamondbacks. 3 teams that you think will finish above 500.
Okay, so first of all, the Padres just had the worst luck ever. So let's just get the one out of the way. Like, there's no way they're going to be that hurt and injured and all this kind of stuff again. I mean, that was really... And they almost still made it above 500, regardless of the fact that their entire rotation was gone. Yeah. So that's easy.
There's one.
We were talking about the Rangers. They have a shot now. I don't know if they have enough quite yet, but they're curious in there. Same kind of thing with the Angels if everything kind of goes right, and we all want that to happen for them. But I would say the team out after the Padres for me is the Tigers. The AL Central is not that scary at all outside of the White Sox, really. And they added Baez, and now they added Eduardo Rodriguez, and I think their pitching staff with Skubal and Mize both improve in their second full season, I should say. Maybe Matt Manning does get better as well. I would love to see that. So I think the Tigers have an interesting opportunity, especially if they go and get like Castellanos or something like that, and one more bat to really help out that lineup.
Yeah.
And after that, I mean, sure, let's go with the Mets. Why not? They just spent a ton of money. They got Starling Marte, which is a great get. Marcana's a great get. They got Max Scherzer. Yeah. Sure, obviously the health is a huge thing with both of those guys at the top of their rotation, with DeGrom and Scherzer. But hey, maybe Carlos Carrasco does return to form. Maybe we see more of first half Taijuan Walker as well. There's some interesting stuff there in New York, and the NL East is actually sometimes has the best parity of them all. But I think that they certainly have a good opportunity to be over 500.
So your final 3 were the Padres, Detroit, and the Mets?
Yes.
Okay. I will say, the Padres is easy, so we'll say that one.
Yeah. Yep.
I'll say that. I'll say the Guardians. I mean, I think with a healthy Shane Bieber over the course of a full season.
It's just Jose Ramirez and Franmil, though.
What's the difference between that and last year?
And they didn't. Oh, you're saying just then add on healthy Shane Bieber.
Add Bieber because there were 2 games under 500.
Oh, fascinating.
Yeah. So it's because I was thinking maybe Miami, but they were like 10 games under 500.
There's
or something
about it. Fast every single time you say Miami.
Miami.
You do the Yemi.
Miami.
We
just have to be glad they don't play in February.
Man, look at Nightbot. Nightbot is amazing. And saying support PitchCon, guys, you did it. You don't need.
You did it. You supported us.
Get out of here, Nightbot.
Damn you, Nightbot. Go to sleep. You're drunk. Go to sleep, Nightbot.
That's an interesting call. Yeah, with the Guardians with the healthy Shane Bieber the entire way.
Yeah, the Marlins were 67-95 last year. The Rangers were 60-102. That's going to be tough to win 20 additional games, but they have
Yeah.
improved. And if they do get Kershaw or Rodon, that
Right.
could
There
be
could be
very
another thing to push them over. Yeah. I
that
mean,
could be interesting.
I really want Miami, like you mentioned,
Mhm.
to actually do it.
Yeah,
Like,
they could.
that staff is so fun, and I think the world needs to see more Sandy Alcantara and Pablo Lopez and Trevor Rogers, and hopefully a healthy Sixto Sanchez, and then Max Meyer and Eliezer Hernandez, like
Yeah.
Edward Cabrera. There's so many
Cabrera, yep.
fun dudes on that pitching staff. Then Jazz Chisholm, and you have Jesus Sanchez maybe unlock something. I just want that to work.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I also think, I mean, so the Angels finished last year 77-85. So that's 5 games away from 500
Right.
without Mike Trout for a majority of the
Right,
year.
and not to mention their staff was on and off. You know,
Yeah.
they lost Dylan Bundy essentially,
And no
They had
Rendon.
Yeah, right. The Angels are a good call. I mean, the only other side of that is you got 162 games essentially out of Ohtani. That you
That's
might
true.
not get.
And the other caveat is we say it every year that maybe the Angels will finally be good. And
I hope so. I say it. I've said it before. I'll say it again. If there's one team I choose to win the World Series, I want it to be the Angels. I just feel like baseball will be better with Ohtani and Mike Trout lifting the trophy.
I agree. Now we're going to move on to a segment we call Question for a Question, where I ask Nick a baseball question. Nick asks me a baseball question. It's a vague, it's general, it's out there. It can be anything.
I like to surprise. We have it written down, but I want this to actually be a surprise in the season. Like, you don't know what the question will be.
That's good. I like that. I'll start with my question to you, Nick. Nick, what in your mind, and you've got an endless supply of money available to you. Oh, wow. And you can buy any seat in the ballpark. Okay. Which seat are you buying? Where are you sitting?
Yeah, this is tough because, like, you want to say, oh, right behind home plate. I mean, I honestly, I want to be behind the dugout of the team I root for. And I want to be like right to the, like, in between the end of the dugout and the batting circle. You know, like that little moment, you know, where it's where like Votto talks to a fan or something.
Yeah.
I want to be right there. I mean, it's really tempting for me to say, oh no, I want to be about 10 rows back, dead center, because I have a good angle looking at the pitcher, which is better than how it is if you're right behind home plate. You just see a lot of the catcher there. And I want to be a little bit above it so I can actually see what's going on and dead center with it. There's also, I mean, honestly, the best cheap seats to me are dead center all the way in the back. Like up nosebleeds, but dead center. I can see the entire field in front of me.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite cheap seats personally. But if I can do any of them, I'd be like right to the left of the dugout of my team.
So there's nothing where you're like, I really want to be where there's a home run. I really want to be where I could catch a home run.
I've never had a home run come near me.
That's interesting.
I know. Maybe if I had experienced it, I would. I mean, what's your answer for this?
I don't know. Originally, I kind of thought that it was behind home plate, but mid deck, like at the suite level, because I like to be able to see the entire the entire field of view. Right. But I think there is a kind of. I was playing. Oddly enough, you're going to think this is very funny. I was playing softball on Thursday.
Yes, you were you really?
Yeah, I was playing softball.
Video? I need video.
Oh, I swung and missed at the first 7 batting practice
No.
pitches. It was unbelievable.
You got it on the 8th though.
Oh, I nailed it. I ended with an inside the park home run.
You just had some rest.
He was lobbing it up real high.
Oh yeah, well
he was doing that
just
like
being kind and not taking it, not making.
He was doing that like 20-foot arc, and I was I can't do this.
Yeah, it was just like landing at the back of the plate and stuff, and you just like, this is impossible. This is stupid.
This is impossible.
This is not rookie of the year, buddy. You can't just float it.
There were some dudes who were just smoking the ball, and we had a guy who played second, who was just a fantastic defender. And there is something really magical when you're really, really up close about seeing like a smoked ball go to an infielder. Yeah. And you get to see, because you lose it on TV sometimes, even when you hear like, oh, it got hit 100 miles an hour off the bat.
Right.
You lose it. But when you see it, like when you see guys,
you hear it hit the glove too, right? And
it's also like watching a horror film. Like I have anxiety and I'm playing softball. I'm like, if this thing comes towards me, I'm gonna die. Like it's so I would say, yeah, literally in the front row, right behind the dugout.
Man.
Just to,
it's too bad you didn't join me with Frank Stanfield, Adam Ronas, and Chris Towers with our Bad News Beers team.
That's why I thought you'd get mad at me, because I never go out to play softball because I'm so antisocial.
Now you leave me and you play softball.
It's because I have no friends, Nick. I'm all alone, a lonely boy.
Oh man, well I'm glad you're doing this. I want to hear reports every week about your softball team.
They're back-to-back champions, so I'm not making the team. I'm just helping them practice.
Practice? We're talking about practice?
We're talking about practice. They play like 10 months out of the year.
Oh my God. Well,
it's unreal.
You got to get going.
Yeah.
You got to get going. So you're the
What's
manager.
your question?
You're the manager.
No, I could be. If anyone wants to know their WRC plus.
Already promoted to manager. My question is, I want you to describe, you're a kid and you dream of being a baseball player, but we always have like the moment in our dreams that we are living. Like, oh, I'm a baseball player and this is what I'm doing. It's like bottom of the ninth, 2 outs, bases loaded. But I get a feeling that you have a different dream, like what that vision is when you were a kid.
Yeah, I mean, it was bottom of the ninth, 2 outs, bases loaded. It was that all the time. But it was in my driveway. We had like a little kind of like, there's the pavement, and then next to it was kind of like a little stepping stone thing that went up probably about 4.5, 5 feet. And I would carve out a strike zone with chalk. And I would stand about, 30 feet away or whatever. And I had my little glove. I would get into a little stance, look down at the fake catcher, always shake him off for some reason, which is so funny that like in my childhood fantasy, I was not on the same page with the catcher at any moment.
Because you're in control fast. That's why.
Yeah, I'm in control. And I distinctly remember, rearing back, and it was always a tennis ball and throwing it as hard as I could. I couldn't throw anything. It was always a fastball. And always just thinking to myself, I was such a little jerk. Every time I missed, it'd always be like, all right, foul ball. He fouled it off. You know what I mean? It was never like a ball. I never gave up. I never gave up like a hit. It was like every time I like threw an errant pitch or whatever.
Yeah.
It was like,
my dad would do the same thing. It was like a high one. He'd say, they sometimes call that for a strike, and I didn't realize at the time, like it would be getting dark out. And my dad just wanted to go home.
Yeah.
And he's like calling, like I needed to strike a guy out. We would do like a simulation game or something. Okay. And like he would call the high thing a strike, and I'd be like, "It's not a strike," but he just wanted to go home.
That's very funny. Yeah, but I guess the scenario was I was always an Oriole. I was always winning the World Series for the Orioles.
Right.
What about you?
For me, honestly, I know it's gonna sound weird, but it was I would be pitching Game 1 of the World Series. It would be like it wouldn't be at the end. It would be that I wanted to be the one to begin it and represent and be like, this is my moment. I'm going to pitch a perfect game now in the World Series, like Don Larson, right? Like that's what I envisioned. It wasn't necessarily the crowning, like the end of it, because that's a closer.
Yeah.
I wanted to be the one that they turned to right in the beginning, and that they wanted the first shot, and like, yes, we want Nick to do that. So yeah, it's just me. It's like the whole vision of me and pinstripes, of course, and just pitching to a roaring crowd that they're just so excited that it's me on the hill before anything even happens.
I'd be curious if a majority of people's first, baseball dream moment was as a pitcher, because you can't hit alone. Like, you know what I mean? What do you do?
Well,
like,
yeah,
you throw up the ball?
Bases loaded, 2 outs, World Series,
Yeah.
4-1, down by 3.
And then what? You just hit an invisible pitch?
Yeah, well, then you just swing without, a bat, and you just, the crowd goes wild,
Those kids are freaking
We've done
losers.
that, too. I've done that one. I'm the pitching guy now, but I used to hit, believe it or not.
That's funny. Did you ever play, like, roof baseball? Did you ever play that game? You probably didn't, because you grew up in the city.
Well, you mean like suicide? Like with a rubber ball, like you throw it against the wall, but then we could roof it. We would throw it above the roof. Which I realize is not anyone. As I'm saying, like, this is absolutely not what you mean.
Yeah, I was very confused. This is easier to play.
I'm just describing this now of how stupid this game was that we used to play.
I don't know what game you're talking about either.
We would have a rubber ball, this one, like suicide or like wall ball or whatever. Like you would throw it against the wall, and then someone have to field it. And if you fielded it and you didn't do it cleanly, you had to run to the wall, and you have to touch the wall. And then if someone had the ball and threw it against the wall before you did, you were out, right?
You were out. Yeah,
or I mean, more violently, if you got pegged before you hit the wall, you'd be out, right? Which is always terrifying and gave me a lot of anxiety. But fortunately, I was only one of the ones that could actually throw and whatever. So the thing is, though, when you were out, you can get everybody back in if you could throw the ball above the wall. And this was like the recess of my school, so like there was like 5-6 floors up or something. And like only me and my friend Brett could do that. Like we had the arm to do it. But if you did it, it wouldn't come back.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like you can't get it back.
Well, someone would have another ball or something like that. But for whatever reason, we made up this rule and lost all of these balls.
No wonder your parents hated when you played that game, because it always cost them like $20. Get a whole
my God.
Pack of balls.
And like the kid who had the suicide ball that day would, oh man, you're the coolest, Michael,
The game that I played, and I'd be curious if anyone in the comment section or people listening ever played this too, was like a much more suburban game of baseball that you could play with one person, right? So it was two people total, right? So you'd play with someone else. So you and I are standing on the driveway, and there's like a little roof, a suburban roof. So it's not that high up. You throw it up, and for every bounce is a base hit.
Oh,
right?
Nice.
So if it bounces once, it's a single, and then lands, bounces twice, double, triple, so forth, and so on. But if I catch it on the way down, then it's an out. So I throw it up, it bounces twice, it's a double, but I catch it before it hits the ground, then it's an out. And then you have 3 outs, so forth and so on. But you always try and throw it at an angle so that people have to run, and then as soon as you catch it, throw it up one more time.
Right.
I don't know if anyone played that, but that game's still...
Great.
Dude, it is still fun to this day. Like, that is a fun... If you want to play baseball with just 2 people, get a tennis ball on a roof.
I'm getting on a plane. I'm going. I'll go.
I have a little roof.
I have no more work for PL7. Absolutely not. No. I'm getting on a plane. I'll be there.
All right. It was a lot of fun. Ball. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, that's great.
All right.
I love it. So
wow,
we have another segment here. We got 2 more.
Yeah, we got 2 more. I don't know what you're thinking here. This segment's called Wild Thoughts. Nick says, I have so many.
Every single week. Okay, you can get in on this. And people can also submit them that we'll read off. I love this. Wild Thoughts is essentially just the crazy ideas of how the game should be, or you think something about it. So I have one. I have many. I've shared some inside of the PL Discord, but I want it so that when you sign a free agent, it's kind of like they have to go through a set of drills that the team cannot sign them if they don't go through those drills, and they're public. So like, let's say you've signed Freddy Freeman, then Freddy Freeman needs to go through, do the grounders. It's kind of like tryouts for your high school team, but the free agent signing needs to do it, and everyone can watch and see. And if he fails it, that means that the player cannot sign with the team. So it's this crucial moment of like, Freddie Freeman signs with the Rangers. The last step is he has to pass his drills, and everybody gathers and we watch. You go, okay, Freddie Freeman, get ready. He gets to hit down a bunt. He's got to do 3 out of 5, do it this way. He's got to sprint to first in, 8 seconds. He has to field a couple hops and everything. And if he passes it, he's officially a Texas Ranger. I think that would be the greatest thing ever.
First guy does it, tears his ACL out for 2 years. Like,
I didn't want him anyway. If he's going to tear his ACL on a fielding drill.
No one signs him. No one signs, because that's the thing. He fails the drill.
If you're that fragile, do you really deserve all that money?
You're crazy. You're crazy.
It's called a wild thought for a reason, Fast.
That's true. So here's my wild thought.
Yeah.
No one should be able to... when you're running the bases...
Yeah.
It's not just touching the base. You have to kiss the baseman.
So everyone will slide head first.
No. You have to kiss on the lips.
Oh, the baseman.
Yeah, you have to kiss the baseman.
What if they run away?
That's a whole new sport, baby.
Are they like... Are they like, did they have to be touching the base or something as like...
No. Hey, smooch.
You have to smooch the maybe there's like a mannequin that appears, like you can like open the base and a mannequin comes up.
Smooch him, run and smooch
the mannequin and move on.
Mine isn't too crazy, but like it's actual nonsense to me that we don't have like a bunt all-star game competition.
Oh, I love it.
Like,
I know they do it in other leagues.
They do it in the KBO, and it's like, or I think they did it in Japan, but like it is shocking how much fun it is to watch. Like, it might seem dumb, like having like a bullseye on all these different things, but like, you remember in what was that old video game where you did like the kind of like a batting cage, and you would hit things in center field. You would hit like the tractor in center field and hit stuff like that.
Right. I think that's
that too.
MVP baseball.
Yes, MVP baseball.
Yeah, I think that's
like
what Miles is bringing up here in JR Canes. Yeah.
Yeah, do it. Just do it. Like, I don't want like a tiny little thing that's like, oh, if you hit the ball 500 feet, you win a Dodge Stratus. Like, I want like
the odds of that are so small. Exactly.
They're so small. Like, pepper the field with weird junk from John Deere and and Blue Emu and whatever weird sponsor. Listen, can I say one thing?
That's the one you want to mention right now, huh?
Yeah, because they never, and maybe they're advertising one. What man was like, hey guys, this is what we're doing this year. We're calling it the MLB Cream Team. Like, that is insane. That played at every
guys, I know
commercial
this is the first
break.
Episode, but we are still a G-rated podcast.
It was on every. It was on.
I want to make sure everyone knows. You can say that.
It's every commercial break. The MLB Cream Team. Like, what? That's young. That's how you get young fans. Talking about the MLB Cream Team.
Can you stop saying it?
I had to be subjected to it every day I watched MLB TV. Blue Emu wants you to join the MLB Cream Team. Like, are you kidding me? Like, are you joking?
It's nothing quite like the MLB CT, you know?
It's like, no, Cream Team, not CT. No. They said it. So you have to hear it.
You said it about 20 times. What an advertisement this has been for
the MLB Cream Team.
All right, let's. So that's the Wild Thoughts segment. We're gonna have one called the Pitcher of the Week, where we're gonna say a pitcher that we're infatuated with. This is not fantasy. This is literally just we just dig what they're doing, you know, and like it makes me excited to watch more of them, right? And sometimes it's just gonna be, hey, this guy is throwing harder, or this guy did something kind of weird, or whatever it is. We're gonna have a Pitcher of the Week. Fast, is there a pitcher that you are just right now just so excited to watch in April? I know I had to bring down the energy there.
No. I was gonna pivot. I was gonna pivot and say, like, it's actually just a person who I think is a good person, and like that's why they're my pitcher of the week, because I think they're a very good human being. But a person who, if you phrase it like that, then probably Tyler Beede.
Yeah, that's a fun one.
It probably is Tyler Beede. Like, I'm really trying to like watch out and see what the news is, if there is any about him.
Right.
And if he really is sitting 96, 97, and he really, you know, just him being with that organization and what they've done with pitchers, and that just gets me really excited thinking that, like, oh, he could be like their come out of the spring training is like they're 4 or 5 and end up just being another guy where we're like, whoa, why were we talking about Tyler Beede? He could also go in the opposite direction, but yeah, of course. I'm excited to see what he does.
It's not about what we actually think will happen. This is not any prognostication. Oh my God.
Prognostication.
I just failed. I went for it and it's like brain shut down. It's like, I'm on vacation, man.
Prognostication.
This isn't us predicting what will happen. But for me, I mean, especially consider this as a segment every week, it's going to change. And there are things that come up that make me more intrigued. And, you know, if you guys saw me on Twitter, I saw this, as everyone has, this Mitch Keller video of him hitting 100.9 on his fastball. 109.
His arm fell off.
Are you buying stuff over here? But no, 100.9, which he never did. It was never above 99.
Are you buying
max velocity? What's that?
Are you buying it?
I mean, I don't know if I'm buying it as far as like he's going to be good now, but at the very least, like he's showing a skill that he hasn't before. So I'm excited to see, like, is he going to be throwing hard like this? Is he going to, you know, obviously the walk rate was bad last year for Mitch Keller, but I always get excited when I see a pitcher do something that is better than they have before. If that means that they'll have success now is another story, But I just love seeing guys blossom in some way. And hopefully, he becomes a swan now, Sometimes an ugly duckling is just not a swan, and that's unfortunate. But, maybe he could be one, and I'm excited to see that in April.
I am as well. It'll be fun to see. But yeah, Nick, I should wrap this up.
We got to go.
We got to go. I got to go.
We don't have an outro yet. We don't know how to end this.
Yeah, you got nabbed.
We're talking about baseball. I want to do something where we thank everybody, That's what I want to do every single week, is just kind of like a fade away of us just thanking stuff. There are all these random credits going across.
So we play like Led Zeppelin, thank you, and just let the screen credits roll?
No. As in hey, all right, I want to thank Eric Mura today for being our producer. I want to thank Alex Fast for joining me in the studio today. I want to thank everybody watching at home for PitchCon as we conclude it.
I won't do that. I won't thank anyone.
Well, thank you for listening to the first episode of the Nick and Alex Baseball Show. Who are you?
You got nabbed.
You got nabbed. All right. I don't know how we're going to end it. I don't know whatever it is, but we did it. That's the podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, we're going to do cha-cha-cha out. No. That was the thing of 2020. We got to find a new thing.
You got to find a new thing.
We got to find a new thing. Fast.
Congratulations to everyone. Thank you all for donating. Thank you all.
Yeah, seriously. I'm going to do a whole spiel here.
Yeah, go spiel it up.
All right. You rock fast. You did it. Get out of here.